Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by Milo Tree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Leslie. I am a blogger and a serial entrepreneur. I build businesses online with my husband, David. We started in 2009 when we created Catch My Party, and we've grown it into the largest party ideas site on the web. So if you need graduation party ideas or Father's Day ideas, head over there. We also then created our Milo Tree pop-up app that so many of you use to grow your social media followers and email subscribers. And right now we have launched Milo Tree Cart, which is the perfect payment tool for creators who hate technology, for you to sell digital products to your audiences. So these are things like digital downloads, memberships, coaching, workshops, subscriptions. Any digital product you create, you can sell with Milo Tree Cart. Before I introduce the episode, I wanted to share two things. The first is that Google just had their annual I/O conference, and they started to lay out how search is going to look in the future. And if you saw this in your newsfeed, you couldn't help but notice something called the AI snapshot. And this is where Google is using AI to return the answer to the search query right there on the search page, incentivizing people to stay on Google and not click off to a bunch of sites. I have no idea how big the impact of this is going to be on all of our traffic, but I do think that we should expect some sort of disruption. And therefore, in order to future-proof your business, I recommend two things. One, lean into your expertise, show that you are a real person with real authority. And two, if you are monetizing predominantly from ads on your blog, please diversify. Look for other income streams like selling digital products to your audience. And the second thing I wanted to share is that by the end of May with Milo Tree Cart, we are rolling out two features. These are the most requested features that will help you make more money. These are called order bumps and upsells. These are simple funnels so that when a customer comes and is purchasing, they will see additional items that make sense to them and increase what's called your average order value. I share this because it relates directly to today's episode. So today I am interviewing Kathleen Celmins. She is a coach and she teaches people how to sell high-ticket digital products and services through funnels. This is how people are making 6 to 7 figures and how you can too. I love the way Kathleen talks about making money, talks about why your expertise matters and why you should be paid for it. I think you're going to like this episode. So without further delay, here is my interview with Kathleen Celmins. Kathleen, welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's funny because we were chatting so much like before I pressed record that I'm like, no, we got to record this. So really, and we decided even before we pressed record that we are friends.
Yes, we are. Now we're friends.
That we're friends.
And
yes.
you don't know this about me, but I am a barnacle. When I decide that somebody is my friend, you have to like change your number to like get out of my world.
Oh, good. Stalk me. I love it. Okay. So Kathleen, and especially what we were talking about before we press record was business building and being serious, being a serious person who really ready for it, wants to make money.
Yes. Yeah. And we were just talking about this because we have a shared vision that we want women to take up space and make more money. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
That's what gets me out of bed.
Now we're friends. Yeah.
Totally. All right. So Kathleen, give the audience, if you would, a little bit about your background, how you got to where you are and what you do.
Sure. Yeah. So I have been at this a long time. I started in the personal finance world in 2011. Which for those of you who are listening is a really long time ago in internet years. I worked in, my last corporate job was as the blog manager for an inbound marketing company in the days where inbound marketing, in order to win the inbound marketing game, you just had to have more 500-word posts than other people.
Can you explain what is inbound marketing?
company blogging. So it was right at the beginning of HubSpot, and it was building out content for our internal team, and then for the agency, or we were building a content agency with that model. If you want inbound leads, if you want people coming to you, you need to have content. That's something that's like so very obvious today as of this recording. In some spaces, there are still spaces that are not as online as others that still don't know that, but it's a given now, and it really wasn't back then. And then I left there because in 2013, it was 2013, and I was working for a 100% remote company, which again, after the pandemic sounds like no big deal. Everybody works from home, right? But back then it was really scary. I was like, am I going to lose all my social connections? Am I going to get weird? Am I going to be one of those people that decides that since I'm working from home, I don't need to shower? And once I worked there for, I think it was like 18 months or something, I realized, no, I'm fine. I can work from home, but also I can do the same thing for myself that I was doing for this company. And there's way more potential upside. And so I partnered with a friend also in the personal finance space. I worked behind the scenes to make the podcast that we were on. I was never on the air, but I made it profitable. I was the business manager. We went from pre-revenue to mid six-figure per year, really set them up for success. And by the time I'd worked with them for 4 or 5 years, I was tired of being in the personal finance space. The personal finance space is very much spend less, earn more, invest the difference. And my business partners were doing a really good job at that, but I was tired of the same stories. And what I really, really liked was helping other people in that space make more money, helping other people do good. And so I, in 2018, spun off on my own and built a marketing agency. And then in 2020, turned it into a content agency with a business partner. And we were focusing on video content, and it worked out really well. Virtual video marketing content worked really well when everybody was at home and they needed to connect with other people. And then then I've done a ton of done for you work. And from there, pivoted again. We closed down the agency, and now I've taken all of the things that I have learned, all of the processes and swipe files and templates that I use to make my agency work smoother, and have turned it into a group coaching program where people join at their leisure. They can join whenever they want. And then my promise is in 90 days, we'll take you from idea to fully functioning sales funnel. And if you're not making money by the end of those 90 days and you've done everything like necessary to get to that point, I will cut you a check for $1,000 to put toward ads, and also work with you until it's profitable. That is how much I believe that we're still at the beginning of digital products working, and how much I believe in this framework and process.
Who is the ideal person that you work with? So somebody's listening and they're like, sure, I want to make a lot of money selling digital products. Who can you help?
I really love that question, and I love like the hypothetical person. If you think you want to make money with digital products, you're the right person. More specifically, if you have been in business even a couple of years, you're sitting on a gold mine. There is $100,000 revenue stream in your SOPs, in your Google Drive, in your Dropbox, somewhere in your system that you think of as just like, this is something that just everybody does. That's where that's where the gold is.
What if I'm a blogger in a niche?
Okay. How are you monetized?
I'm typically monetized via affiliates, ad revenue, affiliates, that kind of thing.
So So we'll take your hypothetical, and let's say you don't have any digital products of your own, and you've seen like the teachers pay teachers model where it's all really low ticket, and you think maybe that'll work for you, and it might, but also there's probably something else there. So we would look at your top performing posts, we'd look at your top performing affiliates, and we would figure out what else is there is. So I think a lot of bloggers use the word just. I'm just a blogger. How can I do that? And that keeps you small. Don't stay small. You aren't just a blogger. You're an expert on content that works. You know what's going to hit and what's not. You could even call yourself a viral content expert. If when you're planning your content ahead of time, you know the types of things that will make Google happy or make any of the social media algorithms happy, you think that's just something everybody knows, and it's not. So something like that, something just as simple as that, because it doesn't seem like very much to you, and that's because you're the expert. And the analogy I keep using is surgeons, right? It's no big deal to a surgeon to take your appendix out because they know where it is, right? It's no big deal. But that surgeon is not afraid to charge for it. And they're not afraid to, and they don't do hourly based pricing. It's the same sort of thing. Everybody listening here has a surgeon's level of knowledge about their topic.
Right.
So
and I would say it's that thing. It's like, it's the water you're swimming in that you don't see. The fish doesn't know he's in the water.
The fish doesn't know he's in the water. Exactly.
But so you have your own water that you don't know. Like, for example, maybe I am awesome at recommending products. Like I got a bunch of girlfriends and I'm the one who's always at Target finding the best conditioner, finding the best weird thing. And I'm always telling my girlfriends about it. And they're always buying them, going, oh my God, you like that thing that you recommended was so awesome. Like that is a skill.
Yes.
And I bet, and there's ways to monetize that, whatever it is. So really step back. And one thing that I think is very valuable is asking the people around you, what is it that you do effortlessly that you don't see in yourself?
And if that's scary, listen for questions.
Ooh.
If you get the same question from 3 different people, that is worth investigating. So let's say that you are really good at laying something out in Canva in a way that's just like so much more beautiful than literally anyone else, right? And you're friends with other bloggers. Otherwise you wouldn't still be here, right? It's impossible to do this by ourselves. So they've asked you like, hey, I've got this recipe roundup. Could you tell me how you did that pin or that image? If you get that question 3 times, that is a nugget for a digital product.
I think that is very wise advice. And I think we were talking about this offline, as women, we underestimate our expertise. We go, yeah, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's nothing. It's super easy. You could do it too. Like, yeah, you don't need I just did it this way and blah, blah, blah. So notice that we as women, and again, I'm speaking in generalities. However, we do have this tendency to not see I call it kind of special sauce.
Right. I use the analogy of wine, right? You are the wine inside your bottle. You not only know what color you are, you know exactly which grapes from exactly which row and exactly which vineyard you come from. You know your specific alcohol, you know the best temperature to be at, but you don't know what your label looks like. All you can see are the other labels around you. You don't know if you're at the top shelf at a fancy wine place or at the bottom of the gas station. You don't know until you get some outside perspective. you can ask me, hey, what's my label look like? And I can say, well, it's got you need to do some work on your label. And you're like, great, I'm glad we're having this conversation. Or like, hey, where am I in the marketplace? I'm like, well, I hate to break it to you, but you're at Circle K, and so like, it's really, really hard for us to have any perspective from inside the bottle. And it's not a personal failing. It's a universality. So it's really helpful. I have a friend who is just a genius at spreadsheets, Excel, Google Docs, Google Sheets, doesn't matter. And I can't. My brain doesn't think in rows and columns. And so often I will share a Google sheet with her and say in English, I need it to do this. And 57 seconds later, I get it. And that is a skill that I would pay for. If I didn't have her, I would have to pay for it or spend 6 hours trying to figure it out myself. So anything that's easy for you, anything people are asking you about, anything that makes your job easier. I heard somebody tell me once, I just don't know what I would build a product around because I don't know. I just have I have this one thing. I don't know if anybody would want it, but like I have a way to onboard my new contractors so that they are pretty much autonomous in less than 2 weeks. But I don't think anybody would want that. I was like, are you kidding me? You don't think anybody would want that? Like, I know lots of people who cycle through tons of contractors before they get to one that even works right 6 months down the line. And she said, oh, well, maybe I could turn that into something. And she did. So, I mean, so there's lots there. There's lots there.
Yes. So I think it is like after you listen to this episode to really step back and say like, ooh, like kind of think about yourself as if you were your best friend looking at you going, that's cool. So if you can get those, like just even that change in perspective, I think that is the first piece in building this, in building what I like to call your digital product empire. Now, will you walk me through though, how it can turn into an empire? Because the question I get all the time is like, okay, so I'm going to sell a $5 ebook. And how does this even work? And I loved what you were talking about in terms of funnels. Now, funnels, just before we start, are really pathways that you're leading your audience on. And again, you get lots of people hopefully at the top of your funnel, and they're going to learn more about you, and you're going to see if it's a good fit, and they're going to see if it's a good fit. And ultimately at the bottom of the funnel, they will purchase. Now, what they purchase and all of that there are a variety of paths you can take. So would you break this down?
Yeah, sure. So the $5 ebook is intended to prove to you as the creator that you have something worth selling. There are not very many people that can get rich on a $5 ebook. Even people with a jillion followers have a higher ticket back end than I know people who have book funnels. So it's like free plus $5.95 for shipping, but that goes into a higher ticket funnel. So if you think about the $5 and a 5 up to 20, right?
Yeah.
That ebook level is to prove to you that some part of your expertise can be monetized. Once you have that proof, and you don't need that to be $500, you need that to like 1 sale, 3 sales will prove that you have something to sell. And then it kind of goes up from there. I don't believe in the old school like ascension model. You're not going to go from 5 to 27 to 5,000 to 100,000. It doesn't work like that anymore. It's better to come in at a medium range price point. So once you've done the $5, I think the instinct is like, well, now I'm going to do something $27. And $27, there's nothing wrong with the $27 product, except that what it's doing is it's building your list for free. So that would be the stage where you're proving that ads can work for you, right? So you're sending paid traffic to a $27 product. You're probably spending $27 per purchase. So
can you explain that?
But you're building your list.
Can you explain that? Because I think that's counterintuitive. Yeah. Like, wait, what? I'm going to spend $27 to get a $27 purchase?
Well, okay, channel that. That's why I don't have any $27 products, because it doesn't make any sense. So if you're trying to build your list, great. If you want to build your list for free, it'll take a little bit longer. If you want to build your list for paid, it might be a break even, and that can be okay. I think it's hard to spend money on ads without a monetary ROI, right? So let's eliminate the $27 and go for something that's a few $100s. That's where all of my people fall into. You want your price point for your offer, your digital offer needs to be not so expensive that they have to talk to their business partner or their husband or somebody else who's also in charge of their finances to buy it, but not so cheap that it immediately goes into their PDFs to read later folder and they don't do anything with it. So there's a happy medium, and we do this inside my group where we talk through it. I have a price point that I want people to start at. I get a lot of pushback, so I'm flexible within a $100 or so range. But mostly the real value comes in when you cut up that main offer into its component pieces, so that some people will just buy the core offer, but most people will buy, some people will buy just the steak, but lots of other people are going to buy the potatoes and the wine and the broccoli and the dessert to go with it.
I want to take a short break to say that if you are ready to start creating digital products, but you're feeling intimidated, start with an ebook. And in fact, go grab my ebook on how to write an ebook using ChatGPT. You can get this at milotree.com/AI ebook. Now I'm selling it for $29, but if you go to that link, you can get it for free. And remember, I wrote this ebook using ChatGPT and it took me 3 hours. This is doable. So again, go to milotree.com/AI ebook. You'll get all of my prompts. So honestly, there is no reason not to try this. And now back to the show. One thing that I'm noticing as we're rolling out MiloTree Cart, because I'm watching on the back end, what are people selling? Where are they having success? People are definitely doing exactly what we talked about. They're starting with something small. And you're right. It is concept, like testing, figuring out where that product market fit is. And it can take a little bit of experimentation because you think this offer is going to be the one, and then ultimately nobody purchases, but then you go, wait a minute, you get some feedback, or maybe you think about it, or you go into Facebook groups and you see how people are really talking about this. And that's kind of the experimental phase. Then what I am noticing is the people who are starting to really make money are doing it by selling higher ticket items. Like they're not necessarily going from the $5 ebook to the $27 ebook. Now they might still offer those, but it's coming in things like a coaching session, a package of something, a membership, a paid workshop, like bigger products where all of a sudden they're seeing thousands of dollars coming in, no longer in $5 increments. But it's interesting watching them jump, kind of what you were saying, from those early tests into something much larger.
Yeah. And I think most people who will tell you that high ticket is the best often have a high ticket offer themselves. And so it's a little bit, it sort of strains credulity, right? Like the best way to make money online is to sell high ticket. By the way, if you want to join me, it's going to be high ticket, right? But it is true, even if they do have it, or especially if they do have it, because those people have spent a lot of time doing the testing at the lower ticket. I don't want to say lower end because it's always really good stuff at the lower ticket, but those people didn't hit crazy wealth numbers until they had something that was over $1,000 themselves.
How do you make this mindset shift? So this is the thing that it's like, ooh, I'm okay selling a $27 ebook, but I can't be charging $150 or I can't be charging $300, let alone $3,000. Like, what is that thing? Where is it? Fake it till you make it? Is it pumping yourself up before you put out the offer? How do I get there emotionally?
I think it's better to take emotion out of it. And that's easy to say, but hard to do. But mostly what I mean by that is it's not about you and whether you can make something that's worth that. And this was a big shift for me mentally, is that when we think that, when we're being self-conscious like that, what we're actually doing is being self-centered. And we don't think we are, because we don't think of ourselves as self-centered. But when you're thinking about how can I do this, what you're doing is it's of course it's uncomfortable. It's a big, bright, hot spotlight right on your face. But it isn't that. It is, how can I help the people that I want to help the most? How can I give them the absolute best transformation experience? And if you're doing that if you're solving one of the top big 3 problems, how you can do that, how you can achieve that transformation, it takes you all the way out of it. If you're helping somebody lose weight, what do you have to do with it? It doesn't matter if what you think about it. What matters is their transformation. If you're helping somebody make more money, it doesn't matter that you don't have an MBA. It matters that you have figured out some sort of way to make more money in some really specific way that will change their lives.
Wait,
right? I can help.
Just 1 second. What are those 3 big areas that you talk about?
Health, wealth, and relationships. Those are the big 3 online money-making things.
Okay.
If you are a recipe blogger, for example, you can't make $1,000 cookbook. There's just there's just no way you can do that. You bump up against the limits there. But let's say, let's use the recipe people, because like Pinch of Yum, for example, makes a lot more money teaching other people how to get there than they do on their chicken Alfredo recipes.
Got it. Okay. So let's talk then about, and I interrupted you. You were in a train of thought, but
no, it's fine.
But let's then talk about how this journey works. So I'm, let's say I validated something and I'm selling a $27 ebook and I'm like, yay, I figured out something. Let's say it's on parenting a difficult child.
Okay.
And I come to you and I go, tell me, how does this turn into something bigger? How does this turn into, let's say, $100,000 business? You say back to me, okay. What?
I say, great. You are a parenting expert. You have figured this out in a way that you've made $2,700 validating your idea, validating your expertise. Now, there are 2 ways to go from here. One is teaching exactly your methods. So maybe flesh it out more, right? Maybe it's not an ebook. Maybe it's a coaching program. If you look at like the poor infant mothers, they'll pay literally anything for like a sleep program, right? So could you expand it out? Could you turn it into a program? Could you turn it into something that's higher touch? Could you add coaching? Could you add a one-on-one aspect? Could you add a group aspect? Could you add, if you're night owl, could you add nighttime access? Could you thinking about that? Basically, you're solving the parenting problem, one parenting problem in a really specific way. That's the transformation. How else can you do that? So we call it in my groups, we call it thinking about your offer, your transformation as the pig, and the different ways that you're adding, you're letting people access that are the different lipsticks you're putting on your pig. So, like, how does it work with this? Does it count? If you take it to, how could you charge 10 times more? How could you charge 100 times more? What would it look like to charge 1,000 times for it? Don't get stuck on the idea that it's an ebook. That's just the delivery vehicle. The idea is the parenting transformation. The other side of that is, how could you teach other people to become parenting experts or build a business that you've built? How could you teach what would you teach yourself 3 years ago that if you'd known it 3 years ago, you'd be a lot farther along in your entrepreneurial journey than you are now? Those are two different angles for brainstorming.
Okay. So now I've come up with I like your thing of like, it could be group, like we could be in a membership. We could be I could do one-on-one coaching. I could do the night owl thing where like, you can call me 24 hours a day, all of those things. And so I'm going to put a price tag on each offer. And then when I get somebody into my funnel, first of all, how do I get them in my funnel? And then how do I lead them on this journey?
Paid ads, A, that's the easy answer. And then B, so in my 90-day program, we have like a framework we go through where we brainstorm all the ideas. We pull together what would be a good core offer. And then we split things out into the different component pieces. When we talk about the customer journey, how do we go from take this free quiz about whether or not you have a more difficult than average child, to a core offer, to the highest ticket thing you sell. So it's a customer journey. So you're solving problems along the way. And we talk about it in our group as a upsell path and a downsell path, where how can you help the most? And it sounds disingenuous to say like, how can you make the most money off of these people? Because that's not where anybody listening to this is coming from. They're coming from a place where, how can you help the most people? How can you help more parents have better relationships with their kids? Maybe they had a long journey to get to it, having a kid. How can you help them not be so frustrated with what they wanted for so long? And if you keep that top of mind, instead of how can I squeeze the most money out of each person coming through, then it's a much more, your marketing aligns much more with how you want to show up in the world. And honestly, the truth is you'll make more money too.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this, when you go to like the fancy restaurant, but they have the burger. It might be an expensive burger, but they do offer the burger. Now they also offer the lobster. And they have wine, like, you could buy a glass of wine or you could buy a big bottle of wine, and you're going to the restaurant. You're going to have that restaurant experience. But again, you show up and you can order the burger or the lobster. And let's say you're with, I don't know, let's say it's a business dinner. Great. Everybody's going to order the lobster. Let's say it's just you and your family and you just feel like burgers, or you want to impress, like, who knows? But you can go to that restaurant and have that restaurant experience, but still fine tune what your experience there is going to be like and how much you're going to spend.
Exactly. So anybody coming from a restaurant will get fed, but the restaurant customizes the experience for each person and each situation, just like we do online.
Exactly. So I feel like you're going to give them the experience of, I am this parenting expert and I'm going to solve your problem, which is you're hungry. So at the end of the day, right, you leave the restaurant, you're full. At the end of this, you're going to get a solution. Now, you might get the down and dirty solution. You might get the DIY solution. You might get the total VIP solution, but you get to choose that.
Right. Exactly.
And so
so for the creator, to reframe it as giving somebody every potential option that works with the way they learn best, what they need the most in order to solve the problem that you are an expert in solving, really takes away the like squeezing blood from a stone feeling that a lot of online marketing can get you to feel.
Yes. And it puts the decision making in the customer's hand. Hey, you want this? Great. I've got that for you. Oh, you don't want that? Okay, I've got this for you. And that you've thought through all of these different pathways so that you can serve them in the way in which they want to absorb this information, what their budget is. And chances are, if you deliver even at the smaller level, then guess what? Like when they run into more parenting issues because you're their go-to parenting person, they might go, you know what? Now I didn't know if you could really solve it for me, Kathleen, but you did. Like you helped me with sleep. Ooh,
yeah.
Okay, now we're into the toddler years where my kid is driving me nuts. Kathleen, how can you help me with this? Because I trust you because you solved this for me.
Right, exactly. Or like, okay, now that they're sleeping, how do I get them to eat vegetables? Or whatever. Like there's a lot of, and I think like leaning into your expertise and getting to the point where you're comfortable charging for it are the two biggest hurdles. And then the rest of it is just like
plug and chug
things around. Yeah. Not really, but like more like organizing things on a board, like what goes here and what goes here. And like, that's like a puzzle that like my wall, a puzzle that's fun to do.
That's so interesting. Okay. So the two things people struggle with, I want to say this again, are figuring out that you can charge, that you are worth it. And then
so I had a client who was a psychic. Well, how can I charge for a gift that was given to me?
Ooh.
So that's a really good question. And all of us have gifts.
Ooh.
In order to help other people, you need to be charging for it. And you need to charge enough so that you're seen as the expert that you know you are. So leaning into your expertise, getting comfortable charging for your expertise, and then knowing that you can set up a sales and marketing system that aligns with how you want to show up in the world. Like knowing that you don't have to do things the bro way, those two things combined will propel you farther along than just about anything else.
I feel like we're here on this planet to kind of become the embodiment of the best version of ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I kind of feel like, again, speaking in generalities, as women, like we got empathy down. Yeah. Especially if you're a mother, like, like your kid cries and you are there to comfort them. Like it's not about you in that moment. It is about comfort. And especially too, as wives or whatever, like there's a softer side, I would say, to women naturally over men. So empathy, we got kindness too, that kind of sweetness, helpfulness. Where I feel we struggle a little bit is stepping into our power, stepping into that place of I deserve this, I deserve to make money, I do have gifts, I do, that. So I always believe if you are an entrepreneur, you are going to face yourself in like the most brutal way. All of your insecurities are going to come out, all of your weaknesses will come out, and it's about chipping away at those. So what I'm going to argue is by building a business like you are talking about, Kathleen, you are doing kind of the personal work that is uncomfortable, like facing yourself and really seeing those kind of negative voices for what they are, which is those are just stories, and pushing through. So I think there's something not just about I want to make a lot of money or I can do that, but also I'm going to make a lot of money and grow as a person in a really positive way. Like to me, it feels like also, a win-win.
Like if you want to make a lot of money, get comfortable saying that.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
I want to make a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money, period. Not because XYZ, but like, that's a full sentence. And I honestly believe that like, the holding back of that, the like, I don't know if I should, like,
I shouldn't charge for it.
I want to. I want to make a lot of money. And I want everybody listening to this to make a lot of money too.
Me too.
Let's get there together.
Let's lean into that. Let's own it.
Right.
I do a lot of calls with our customers, and I cannot tell you how many times people have said to me, well, I can't charge for that, or I give it away for free on my blog. And so it feels dishonest to put it together in some sort of package, or like that feeling of like, somehow it's dirty. It's icky.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like I'm selfish, or I'm too money hungry, or again, it speaks to this idea that we talked about before I pressed record of like, I'm not a good girl if I want to make, that seems so nakedly, I don't know, bad. And
yeah, but let's embrace naked ambition. I think that's I think it's I'm attracted to ambitious people. They're the ones that are changing the world. Like, let's take up more space. Let's make more money. And let's send our offers out into the world and protect ourselves from the no's. Let's take that parenting expert example. Let's say you're the parenting expert who's figured out how to get babies to sleep, and you ask your friend if they would buy something, or your audience if they would buy that from you. And they say, actually, no. Don't internalize that no. They don't have infants. Right. like it's fine. You don't let a couple of no's keep you small. Don't stop at those couple of no's. I'm working on an idea right now with a friend, and another friend of mine said, I don't think that's a good idea. And I said, respectfully, I don't think I'm ready to talk to you about it until it's a stronger idea. And she said, I respect that. Like, okay, be comfortable with yourself, and be comfortable enough with yourself, be strong enough to find the right person who has that problem that you can solve.
Ooh, I love that idea. And to think that the world is very big and the internet is very big. So before you abandon it, go looking for those people with that problem. Go befriend those people with that problem. Like, maybe your offer isn't right. Maybe it isn't an issue of like, you can't seem to get in front of the people. Maybe it's not an exact match. Okay, go back, talk to them, hear how they talk about it, figure out how you can fine tune what you're doing. It's much more about being curious than it is about you failed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I had somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn and said, like, I can get your preschooler into MIT. And I was like, I'm sure there's a market for what you're selling. I'm just not going to be it. Like, and I know there's lots of parents that want their 4-year-olds to be in more rigorous training than I do. But like, that person's going to find, they're going to find that many people.
Say that
you
again.
Just don't need, like, there's 7 billion of us on the planet, right? You don't need 1 billion people to buy your thing, unless you're going to stick to $5 ebooks, then you might. Right. But you need like a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 people to buy from you over the life of your business, for your business to be extremely vibrant.
I think that is so powerful. All right. That is like a perfect note to end on, because it says it's doable. This is all doable. So Kathleen, if people want to reach out to you to learn more about what you do, how you teach them, all of that, where should they go?
thewellpaidexpert.com.
And I love that name, because the assumption is that if I work with you, I'm going to be the well-paid expert, not just the expert.
That's right.
The well-paid expert.
That's right. You come to me as an expert. We will work out the money stuff.
That is terrific. Well, I just have to say, I'm so glad I have a new friend, and I'm so
Me too.
glad that we were able to really, hopefully, shake some of you guys up to think about this in a whole new way, to step into your power, to be able to actualize this, to make it a reality, and to not think it is icky, but to go, no, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah. I hope
Awesome.
so too. Thanks so much.
Thank you for coming on the show. I hope you guys like this episode. For me, I just love Kathleen's can-do spirit. Why not charge more? Like, what's holding us back? You know what's holding us back? We're holding ourselves back. And in fact, I have faced that in myself. So please lean into making a lot of money. Why not? Why not provide a ton of value? Why not offer people a menu of possibilities, things they can buy from you for a variety of prices? I hope this opened your mind. If you want to start selling digital products, please get on a call with me. We'll talk about how MiloTree can help you. Just go to milotree.com/meet. I'd love to hear what you want to accomplish and help you get there. So again, milotree.com/meet. And I will see you here again next week.